website under the protected part for members only. Okay, Charlotte McDavid.
Well, since you want it short and sweet, beginning balance was $6,360.18, and we've had deposits from the checks of $1,240, and from PayPal we had $5,473.18. Expenses $783.02, and that leaves us a balance of $12,290.16.
Okay, thank you, Charlotte. A lot of that is for the show. Some of that is for membership dues of everybody rejoining. And speaking of membership, since Susan and them are still busy, I would just give the report that we're up to, at the beginning of this meeting, before the visitors or anyone else who joined, we have 107 members. So we have definitely rebuilt this membership, this club. Great group of artists right here. One thing that we had asked everyone to do, and there's a reason for this, our books are so old and all of our data is so old, we still have house numbers on a lot of our people. And so we had asked everyone to fill out this form online. It's on the actual website. The great thing about that form is when you fill it out and complete it, you can put your email address on there, you can put your social media information, you can put a description about your own art. When you complete that, it goes to 5 people. So we've got it set up now very efficiently to where it goes to membership, it goes to me, it goes to Charlotte for the treasurer, it goes to yeah. So we get it spread out to the right people, so we don't share a piece of paper like we used to do. So we have about 20 to 30 of you guys who have not completed your forms. You know whether or not you went online and filled out that form where you just typed in your information. So you can do it at any time. Even if you've paid, we'd still like to have that information.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Kathy Prince, I don't know if she's here today, but she had a hard time with her on her phone filling out the show form and submitting that.
There is some glitches with using your phone.
So
I
yeah,
understand.
so if you can't do it on a phone, try to do it on a desktop
Yeah,
somewhere.
she's right. Desktops are always a little bit easier. You have a little bit more real estate to work with.
It's the iPhone, if you have an iPhone. Just the show form on the iPhone.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So what we're talking about is the membership forms. We need that information. We need to be able to reach you. We're looking into some things in the future as possibly email notifications. If we don't have, text notifications. If we don't have your cell phone number, we can't put you in the database. So if you haven't completed that, let's just jump online and do that real quick. Now last month, one thing we did talk about, and I was going to let Christy just stand up. I don't know if you've gotten any feedback on the website.
I have gotten none.
Okay.
So I would really like some.
So Christy's looking at different website formats. Our current website is very limited, and we'd like to improve that. There's things that we can't do with it that kind of normal websites
Well,
can.
it's just the package we have is very limited, but what we want to really know is on functionality, what do our members want as far as functionality? I've even looked at some packages where each member can like have their own membership page. Now that's very expensive, but you know, if
You
we
could do
want
your
to,
own update. I mean,
right,
that's
you
great.
go in and
Perfect.
update your own information. So I'm looking at some different things, but there is a vast array of things out there. So
I mean, we know from a standpoint of what we'd like to see it be able to do.
Right.
But if you guys have some thoughts about what you would like to see on our website, it's our club, it's everyone's club. We'd like some input.
really would like some feedback. And the email address to send me feedback about what you want to see on the website in the future is socialmbaa@gmail.com. So
Okay.
please write that down.
socialmbaa@gmail.com. Or see Christy today.
We should probably send that out to everybody in an
think
email
that's
and
a
just
great idea.
prompt everybody to remind them to do
Okay,
that.
that's a good idea. At this point, I'm gonna turn it over to Nikki, who's gonna talk about our upcoming spring show.
All right, hello everyone. I'm Nikki Cochran. I am the show chair for this year's spring show, and I was very encouraged by the number of applicants we had on day one of the application. On February 1st, we opened up the show application, and we had about 35 people apply on day one. So very encouraged. That shows that a lot of people saw the value of last year's show and were ready to go and ready to apply. And so I'm very excited about that. And so I know that the question that most people have is, did I get in? Do we have space for everyone? And all that. So me and Laura and Janet met yesterday. We're part of Janet's on the show committee and Laura's on the show committee, especially dealing with location. And we looked at the map and looked at the numbers, and so I'm going to just go over a couple things with y'all. So one thing I wanted to mention is that if you're a first-time exhibitor and you're still undergoing the juried process, we will let you know when that has been completed. And if you are here today, please come find me afterwards, because I would love to meet you in person, and because I have just a couple more questions of some more information I need from a couple people who are first-time exhibitors. So that aside, we've had, last year outdoor we had 22 total tents, so some of those were shared. I think 2 of them were shared. And this year we've had applications for 26 total tents so far. So already more than what we've had outside. And we do believe we're gonna have enough space to accommodate for those additional tents. One thing that we did last year, for those of y'all who either came or were in the show, we used the parking spaces out here. Like if you go out this door here to the right, all these parking spaces were blocked off, and we had tents in there. We could fit a lot more tents in those spaces. And then this year, they're also going to block off the parking spaces. If you go out here to the left, they're willing to block off all those parking spaces. And so we would be able to accommodate several more tents. Maybe I think it was like 3 or 4, depending on how much space we have between the tents there. So that's exciting. And then depending on how many more people we have wanting to sign up to exhibit outside, we also have gotten permission from the private owners of the grassy knoll down there, who have said that it's down there kind of across from the library parking lot. And they have said that we could additionally use that space. So if we have a lot more applicants who want to exhibit outdoors, and I think that would be something that we would probably have to discuss with them, like if they would want to do it out there on the grass, or if they feel like, oh, I don't know if I want to be that far away from, and I mean, I think it would depend on how many more people we have apply, because it's something that we wouldn't want to just have 1 or 2 tents out there, you know, that wouldn't, obviously that wouldn't look good. And we want to make sure that if there is another group of tents there, that it would be very clear to the people coming to the show. They would be able to see and know, okay, there are more things to go see over there. And we wouldn't want it to be the kind of thing where they don't know about that. Now, Bev Bates has also offered to help us, and she's putting together a map, and she's working with Laura to put together a map. And she's putting it into sort of a handout, like a flyer thing. And I think that's gonna help with people knowing where all the artists are, and especially so that they know about the indoor artists, because I think last year there was a little bit of some people not knowing that we had indoor artists. So as far as the indoor applications, last year we had 16 total full-size panels, so 16 4-panel spaces total set up indoors. And this year so far we've had applicants for 12 total spaces. So that means that we should have some space for maybe like 4 more applicants, unless there are some variables about some of the outdoor artists who've already signed up, because I mean, I don't want to go too much into detail, but we'll have to touch base with some of them, because some of those who wanted to rent a tent so far we haven't gotten enough people signing up to meet the minimum required to do the tent rental. And so depending on if there's other options that we can look at with them, if they want to, we'll just have to individually discuss that with them and see what options. And so we may have to give them, they have said either they want to go be outside and rent a tent, or they're willing to exhibit indoors. And so if some of those people wanted to exhibit indoors, that wouldn't, we wouldn't have very many more spaces indoors. That said, we do have the option to expand the indoors just a little bit if we wanted to go into the pre-chamber room, or the sort of this room, kind of this conference room that's behind this door. You can get there from here, back, behind the membership table, the sign-in table. You can walk in through there, and then outside of these doors, there's a hallway that also leads to that there. So if we were to do that, there are a few logistics we would have to work through. So depending on how many more people sign up who want to be indoors, we would just have to figure that out and work that out with them. The main thing is wanting, again, to have enough signage so that people know that there's another room in there. So, wanting to make sure we have arrows and signs, and that everybody knows that we've got more artists back there, so that there wouldn't be people who are back there thinking like, nobody came into our room, Obviously that wouldn't be good. So anyways, we're working really hard on the maps and figuring all that stuff out. And I mentioned about how we're wanting to have maps. Last year, we only had time to get one map printed. It was, I don't know if y'all remember, it was everything was kind of last minute, and then there were some last minute major changes to the map. So we edited that on Wednesday, and were able to get it printed in time to have, a large thing. And we had it up on the website as well, but of course, communicating to everybody there that this is on the website that's difficult to do with all the people coming in, and unless every artist was telling every single person, oh, there's a map on our website, like how would people know to go there, right? And so we had one sign, and I think it did have a link to the fact that the map was on the website, so people could go on their phone and look at the map and find the artists and see where everything was. But it would be up to them to actually notice that it was there and see that, and then go to that themselves. So this year, what we're hoping to do, Bev Bates is putting together a handout sort of flyer type thing that would have the map printed on it. And so, and then Marsha Hodges, who's doing the demo next month, is organizing our volunteers. So she's part of the show committee, and she's organizing volunteers. And so definitely, if you're interested in volunteering, that's a big thing that I wanted to mention today, is if you are interested in volunteering, we don't have any sort of specific sign-up thing for volunteers at this point, but some people have reached out to us through that show committee contact form on the website, which is at the bottom of I think actually on the contact page, I put a link to it.
Show guidelines.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. So you can click on that if you want to reach out to us. You should be able to go to our contact page and then see where there's the show committee contact form link, and then you can go and fill it out and let us know if you are interested in volunteering. And it was a really long time ago that they didn't used to have any kind of special perks for volunteers. It was just ask people to volunteer, and if they want to do it out of the goodness of their heart, then then yay, we have volunteers. But now we actually, thanks to Janet Sanders' idea many years ago, we have the floral competition, and the volunteers are able to participate in that competition, and they can paint the floral arrangement that Norton's brings here. And that is a wonderful opportunity to get you're able to paint that, participate in the competition, you could win the competition, and your painting will be displayed at the show, and it can be sold at the show. So if you're a volunteer, you have an opportunity to have a painting sold at the show. And that's definitely a good opportunity, especially if you're getting started. It gives you a chance to maybe if you've never painted a floral arrangement before. I know one year I had never painted a floor arrangement before, and I was like, I'm gonna do this Norton's competition. I've never done it before. I'm gonna do it. And I won because that year was a very weird year and nobody else did it. I was the only one, so I was glad at least I had done it. It's like, I'm glad someone did it. Anyways. So yeah, it's great to get to experiment and do something new that you've never done before. And anyways, so if you are interested in volunteering, please let us know. And a lot of people have also let us know on the show application. They've let us know if they have specific types of skills, and we really appreciate that. Yeah, just people saying this is what I'm good at, or this is what I can do. Some people have said I have a lot of availability for running errands, which is something that we absolutely need. And some people have said, I have this specific skill that I can use to help out. And that is absolutely so good for us to know that and get all that information together so that we can coordinate things. Now, as far as promoting, since most of y'all who have already applied, of course, there's those who are pending the juried application process. But for most of the people who have already applied, we do believe we'll be able to accommodate y'all, okay? So what that means is you can start promoting the show, like if you're doing any kind of social media promotion. What we would like y'all to do is to use a hashtag specific to the show. So last year, the hashtag, I had it on it was on the main web page once I posted a sort of public thing about the show, which I'm planning to do very soon. And so that will be always on our homepage when people go there. They'll be able to see, okay, this is, the show details, because we want anybody who is in the general public who sees maybe one of the lampposts that we have promoting the show. We want them to be able to go to the website and see all the information about the show and be able to maybe bookmark that or even share it with somebody. Oh, would you like to go to the show? Blah, blah, blah. So we want that to be an option. Now, on that page last year, I had a hashtag, and it was Art in the Village 2022. So the hashtags, for those of y'all who aren't necessarily as familiar, well, if you're not doing any social media promotion, I guess I wouldn't really worry too much about it. But if you are doing that, if you can use that hashtag, what it does is it unites all of our posts about the show. So this year, it's going to be Art in the Village 2023. So if y'all can use that would be great. Now, last year, I did try to go and find everyone who, I was friends with on social media, or who was, following our, the Mountain Brook Art, I don't know. I tried to find anybody who was posting about the show, and I went and added that in the comments a lot of times. I'd say something, I'd say something that was what I would maybe comment on anyways, a comment I would have made anyways, but saying yeah, it's great, we're looking forward to it. And then I'd put hashtag Art in the Village 2022, and that helped to unite those posts. So what that does is that means that anybody from the public who's going, they see something about the show somewhere, and they go to our website, they look at the main page about the show, and they're and then they see that hashtag. If they're on social media, they can go search that hashtag, and they can find all of those posts that have that hashtag in the comments or anywhere on that thing. And so that's really good for y'all, because that means that people can be seeing your art. If you are promoting the show, you want people who go there and look up that hashtag to see your artwork ahead of time, because that means they're getting it in their minds. For one thing, it's also going to allow them to see all the great art that's going to be in the show, and they will look at that and say, oh yeah, that's definitely a show I want to go to, because look at all these art, they can look at the hashtag, and on Instagram, it'll show all of the artwork of anybody who's posting their artwork and using that hashtag. So if any of y'all are doing that, that helps promote the show. It helps people to see the kind of art that's going to be in the show, and how, just the fact that it's so much variety, so much high quality artwork. And so then that will help people know this is definitely a show I want to go to. And it also will help you in that people are already going to be seeing your artwork and realizing you know, kind of, oh, this is an artist I really like. This is somebody I really want to make sure I go and find them there. And they could even go ahead and follow you and all that stuff. So very helpful to you guys.
You can
And-
also, on Instagram, follow that hashtag.
Yes, and you
So-
can follow that hashtag as well. So, which I would do that so that I can make sure and see all of y'all's posts. And that's why it's really helpful if you can post, because I'm sure I missed some people last year who posted about the show because, you know. So anyway, so I wanted to make sure that as we're starting to post about it, please use that hashtag. That would be great. That will unite everything. And now, back over to the program. All right. Oh, yeah. Any questions? Sorry.
As I think about it, it would not be a good idea for me to take 10 pictures and make 10 posts and put them all on the hashtag at once, right? You don't want to be swamped by one person's posts, so you
Well,
would
it doesn't
want
really
like,
matter. We want as much activity on that
three.
hashtag as we can get, I think.
okay, so it doesn't matter how
Doesn't
many,
matter.
how
Yeah.
many links, how many hashtag entries we have. So,
Yes,
okay,
as
great.
many as you
Okay.
want. As yeah, you. As far
Because
as like
the more we get people using that, the
Yeah.
more it boosts our algorithm.
Exactly.
Yeah, so,
Ow.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Ow likes it.
So definitely, yeah, you can do it as many as you want. Now, I will say that for your own algorithm, your own personal algorithm, consistency is one of the biggest things. So, like, if you're gonna post, if you want to post, let's say you want to do once a week, and you do every, like, let's say you say every Wednesday at 12, I'm going to post. If you do that consistently and you're active in that time frame and you're engaging with other posts and everything, that's going to be the thing that will help your own algorithm the most, that consistency. Because the algorithm will start picking up that, oh, this person is always posting at this time. We're going to make sure that their post is seen by their followers at this time. That's, I mean, yeah, so.
I wanted to share, because we discussed this yesterday at the show meeting, for those of us who are tech incompetent, when she's talking about hashtag, it's the pound sign. It's a search engine,
Yeah.
so it will show up all over if you click on it. But it's like, how did the pound sign become a hashtag? But that's simply what it is.
It came from programmers, apparently.
Thank you, Nikki.
All right, thank you.
If you guys have any more questions about the show, catch Nikki and she'll be able to answer anything, or any of the show committee people. At this point, I've got a few tidbits that I'm gonna ask Gail, just if you'll stand up and talk loudly.
Hey, I'm Gail Hurley, and if I don't know you, I want to know you, so, grab me or something. But to follow it well, first of all, one of the perks of being in our wonderful organization is that you get opportunities, you learn about opportunities to grow and to learn stuff, and all this talk about Instagram fits in perfectly because
Yes.
I'm facilitating an Instagram Basics 101 class, and I've done it twice now, and at my house for a couple of hours in the middle of the week, and I'm not going to do it again until after the 1st of March. So, but I have a list of people who've already signed up for it, so you don't need to sign up again, but I'm going to pass it around, and that way I'll just know to send you an announcement to let you know when we're going to, just pass it around, be great, when we're going to do it again. Then a lot of people followed me up on the free Procreate class at the Apple Store, and they loved it. They all just came away with big eyes, and I think maybe one person might have bought an iPad, I don't know. But the Procreate app is a real helpful app for artists. If you don't know about it, I'm happy to tell you about it, but it's free. And then the third thing is, oh yes, I may have mentioned that I'm having a show the 4th of March. That's why I'm not doing any classes until after that, but it's, and educationally, we're doing two demonstrations on Saturday, March 4th, one by Marilyn Wilson, one by me, of encaustic art and how we do it. So that should be really fun. So if you, you can write a note here and say, please send me that information, but I'll try to get it out to you all otherwise. Thank you. The show is March 4th.
Did anyone else have an announcement that they wanted to say about a show that they're participating in that's coming up in the next couple months? Anything interesting? Okay. The last thing I just wanted to mention, we did have to flip-flop our meetings this month and next month in order to accommodate a problem at the library. So our next meeting will be March the 23rd at 6:30 p.m. at the O'Neill Library here. It's gonna be Amy Peterson is gonna be doing our demo then. So, is it Marsha? I'm sorry. Thank you, Marsha Hodges. Sorry, Marsha, you're here. I don't know why I put Amy Peterson down.
I'm already on here.
Okay, so that will be next month in the evening, and that's, if you know any other members who can only come to nighttime meetings, it's something that we did. We have 2 nighttime meetings a year to accommodate those folks who work or that have small children during the day. It's a great time just to kind of sneak away and go, hey, I'm gonna go do this. I'll be back later. So, and at this point, I'm gonna turn it over to Martha, and she is going to introduce our speaker, or I mean, our demo.
Yeah, it's good to see such a big group here today. This is great. A lot of you are probably here to see Amy. She's a wonderful artist, and if you don't know her, you'll soon find out. Amy has been doing this for a long time. Let me back up a minute, just because I've got to do a little bit of housekeeping. What I need y'all to do when we get done with the meeting, if you're staying till the end, is to please help me get the chairs back lined up like they were when we got here. We're trying to keep this room like it was when we got here. So if y'all can do that for just a minute when you get ready to leave, if you stay till the end. And also, I am hard of hearing, but I hear ambient noise, and I'm sure there's a few others in the bunch. And if you could just keep any talking down altogether, like not even whispering back and forth a lot, you can make a little quick whisper to somebody about what Amy's doing or something, and feel free to ask questions, right, Amy? Feel free to ask her any questions, but keep any chatter, just take it out in the hallway if you needed to talk to somebody, okay? And we can catch up at the end if you want to do that. And let me see, what else? Oh, if you haven't signed in, please sign in, because that's where we get our door prizes from. So if you want a door prize, go over there and sign your name down. Now I'm going to talk about Amy. Amy, I've known Amy for a long time, and she is in my plein air group, Alabama Plein Air Artists, and just a dear friend. And many of you know her already, so I probably don't need to do this, but she has an extensive career. She has done medical illustrations for close to 40 years, it looked like. With her husband, Sam, they have a business together as medical illustrators and still do that, I believe, don't you? Amy graduated from the University of Virginia in Fine Arts, and then she got a medical illustration, Master of Science degree in medical illustration from the Medical College of Georgia. And then she went to work as a medical illustrator and has done that for many professionals, doctors and research doctors and attorneys, and you name it, they have done it. They're wonderful, and she's going to show some of that work, I believe. So, but they've done that for a long time, and then she decided. It hasn't been that long ago, but she has done amazingly well with her painting. She started to do that just about 10 years ago. And she has been learning and doing and painting all the time, she said, and just really has done really well with it, and has won numerous awards, and she is a member of the, Wool Painters of America and the American Impressionist Society, and has won an award with the Impressionist Society, won an award with that, a merit award, and we're very proud of her. And just, I'm not going to keep on, because y'all know her and know her work, and I will mention that she wanted me to mention that she's having an exhibit at the Canary Gallery in downtown Birmingham. And that's going to be on Thursday, February the 23rd from 6 to 8 is their opening reception. Wanted to invite y'all to come to it. So let me see if I skipped anything. I think that's pretty well covered. I'm going to turn it over to Amy.
Okay, yeah, and hopefully y'all can hear me. I'm not a super loud talker. I know I'm gonna move this a little bit. It looks like it might be miles away, but so just say, I can't hear you. I'll try to yell more. I just wanna put my screen on so it doesn't go off. So, yeah, so, and Sam is here, so, in all fairness, he's the one that does the medical illustration now. If he needs help, I'll help him. So, I'm really love doing my paintings, so, and partly, I mean, I just always loved painting, but partly as our career progressed, when we got out of school, everything was traditional media. We did watercolor, airbrush, pen and ink, carbon dust, which is another technique. I'm gonna just show you something real quick. And, you know, as toward the end of our careers, well, later, all our best work, which, you know, was our current work, were done on the computer, which, and Photoshop's a great tool, but it was just a little sad to me that you didn't actually have a piece of artwork that you could hold in your hand and, you know, I mean, I always told Sam, if our kids to look at our best medical illustration, they just have to open a file, and it was, I mean, you'd see the print, but not the same. So anyway, I really miss that kind of tactile quality of, you know, I've always loved every kind of drawing and painting and printmaking, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, probably about 10 or 12 years ago, I had taken a couple of oil painting classes. I think, honestly, 2 classes in oil painting, undergraduate. And then I really just, you know, hadn't taken other oil painting. I mean, I obviously did a lot of artwork, so it's not fair to say I've done artwork all my life. But, so I had to kind of learn myself. I took workshops, I read a lot, I painted a lot, and made a lot of mistakes, and, you know, and what I'm gonna show today, we're gonna talk about edges. It's been an evolution for me. This is not, I'm not trying to say this is the end all thing. This is where I want to be, the things that I'm looking at, the people that I look at, that I just really love their work. It's pushing it kind of to the next level for me. So, and I'm still learning. So, I started with I'm kind of jumping around, but let me go to the medical illustration real quick to just show you a couple of things. So those are 2 on the wall over there. Those are a pastel. That was about fractures are never easy, so it's just a bunch of fractures on one arm and a leg. And then one on the left is carbon dust, and that's an original. I did that in school. But that's a technique where you took carbon pencils and you took sandpaper and you got the carbon dust, that's what's called carbon dust, and you applied it with a brush to a clay-coated surface, and you build up layers gradually, but since it's clay-coated, you could scratch back into them. Couldn't really erase very well, but you could scratch in and get highlights if you look at that foot up close. And y'all can pass them around, but they're under glass. I just thought it's easier.
Is carbon dust just like graphite powder?
No, it's not the graphite. Graphite's got a shiner. It's a carbon. They are totally different. So they're Wolf carbon pencils are what we use, which I don't even know if they honestly make them anymore. It's different than charcoal. I mean, it's blacker, I think is why they use it.
And it's more of a matte look,
yeah, and
rather than a shiny look.
Who we consider the father of medical illustration is a guy named Max Bradel, who came over from Germany, is that right? And started the Johns Hopkins School. He came to Hopkins to work with a doctor. And so we actually have some old textbooks from a OBGYN doctor that he worked with where, I mean, they're just amazing. Like an open surgery, and this was before cauterization. So there will be like 75 hemostats laying open to see the surgery. I mean, it's just amazing, but he was, and then one of his students started the school at the Medical College of Georgia, which is where we met and where we went to school when we met. So, so it touches everybody. I know people will say, is it still, current that people have it? I mean, the schools are thriving. They've just changed. They've evolved. But, I mean, we're all touched by it. You go in a doctor's office if you need a hip replacement or you need to see how a drug works. I mean, they give you a pamphlet and it's explained to you, or you see on TV, how medications work. So you see it in textbooks, of course. We've worked on biology textbooks where they've had thousands of illustrations, and then we worked on very specific textbooks. We worked with Dr. Kirkland on a pediatric transplant heart book, which is one of these. So
So what I was gonna say is, in Photoshop is what we use mostly. We'll start with the sketch and then we'll take it into Photoshop and go from there. You can get the same technique, it's just not an original. So like this, and these can be passed around. These are very different. These were what we called editorial, so they're trying to tell a story. So this was for, I think it was a psychiatric magazine, it doesn't say on here, but, so these are reproductions, but this was called the Anxiety Labyrinth, and so I did The Brain is a Maze. This one was, I don't remember who this was for, but it's called Taking Our Breath Away, and it was about different respiratory diseases. And then these are more traditional, yeah, they can be passed around, yeah. This is actually an original, so that's done on my tints paper, the gray, with airbrush, colored pencil, and this was on trauma, like things that are where you, on the surface, you don't maybe see a laceration, blunt force trauma, but inside
Internal,
your gut,
yeah.
So that is an original. These two, and I'll give you these. So these were pen and inks, but then we scanned them in and made a comp. So this is a surgery. Just trying to show you all kind of the different things. And this is one from Dr. Kirkland's book to kind of mimic carbon dust, but it was actually done in the computer. So anyway, those just feel free to pass around. So if you have questions about it as I'm painting, you can ask about that or any of this. So I did this sketch. Oh, that's the painting that won the award. I was going to tell you, and it didn't sell. It was at the Salma Gundi Club in New York, is where the show was.
Oh, wow.
Nobody bought it, so I decided I'm just going to keep it. It was in 2020, and it was it was a merit award, but it was a $1,700 merit award, so it was really nice. It was I was really proud of it. So, and we can pass it around as well. It's in the frame. I started over here. And this started in a class. I did a demo. This was a little boy at Pepper Place from a photograph. He didn't look like this to begin with. And he sat around for a little while, maybe a year. And then I pushed and pulled him, and this is kind of how he ended up. So anyway, the more I do this, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're good. You're good.
I'll come back and stay here. There are so many people that are just such an amazing painters that do this with such finesse, and it's not like you're just messing up the edges. You really do have to think about it, because it's, you have to think of your edges as transitions between objects, between foreground and background or whatever. And if you're painting representationally, I am not an abstract painter, so I am not talking to the abstract people, because I don't know anything about that. But if you're painting representationally, you're trying to take what you're seeing and make something three-dimensional on a two-dimensional surface that's believable to somebody. So you still have to, have the drawing skills and the painting skills to kind of get to that point before you can start manipulating the edges. But when you do start manipulating the edges, those transitions have a way of, to me at least, they're so much more exciting. There's like movement. There's like, when we're looking at something, we're, like if I'm looking at Gail and I was painting her, if I close my eyes, obviously I'm seeing two different things here. So, and then if I go to my easel and I step this way, I'm seeing something else. So even if you're painting an object or you're outside doing plein air or whatever, that is always changing, even if it's not if it's a computer image. If you've taken a photograph, and I do both, so you have to learn. You have to make your brain think and learn from observation and, apply it to the photographs. But since I'm seeing beyond Gail. If I'm looking at her, I'm seeing all of y'all, but you're not in focus. Now the deterrent from photographs and our iPads is I can zoom in, I can zoom in on you, and I can look over there, then I can make sure I get y'all right. And that can be a hindrance to me, because we're losing our focus. We're painting everything we see because we can, and we can zoom in and we can get oh, the glasses aren't right, or the nose isn't right, because I can zoom in and get that this big and know it's not right. So when you're doing this, I guess what I'm trying to say is, be thoughtful about your painting. Don't just push and pull, but be brave about it too. And if you're starting to work with edges, you're gonna probably mess up a lot of things, but it is just paint. You can paint over it, you can scratch it off, and so you can't be married to like your favorite thing on the painting. Unless you're like, if you're 95% finished with your painting, then I would say, well, probably don't scrape the whole thing off and start over. But, experiment, because happy accidents will happen, and you'll just find things that will just be wonderful, wonderful things. So this is one actually started, I did a demo for the Trustful Art Group, the Cahaba Art Group in beginning of January. And I started with a blank canvas, and so I just didn't have time to finish, but we did it a little more, and then I took it to the studio and I pushed it some more. This is a little tacky here. Nothing's wet. It's just tacky, but I'm gonna pass it around. But I really wanted to, and this is from a photograph that I set up, kind of a bird's eye view. To me, these kind of paintings are much more exciting and successful for me than if I just painted everything like a photograph. I could take a photograph and, I have nothing against photorealism. I mean, I appreciate it and all, but it's just not exciting to me. This is exciting to me. So, I don't know where to start that. So you can, as you look at the things, and it can be anything. I know Martha started, it can be figurative, it can be landscape, it can be still life. So this is something you can do with any subject matter. So I did this yesterday afternoon, just tried to get this blocked in because, and you can ask me about colors and stuff like that, but, and I mean, I'll answer you as I go, but I really want to talk about edges. So if I don't get any paint on here, we're not going to talk about edges. So I was trying to get started with something, and there's a lot of tools, and as I use them, I'll show you, you'll see I'm using them, but a brayer is a good tool. You just have to make sure if you roll it, to roll the paint off, or you're gonna, unless what you want is to roll it to oblivion. This is a squeegee, just like a, squeegee goes on the handle for washing windows. Of course, palette knives everybody uses, and these, I can't remember what you call these. But
Shapers?
What are they called?
Shapers.
Shapers, yeah. So they come in all shapes and sizes. We save our door keys, and these are great scrapers. Yeah. But you can use other things for scrapers. These are like Mako car waxing things that I think MJ found, and she got us one. But this is a piece of cardboard just cut, and it's got this is the cardboard with the ribs in it, so it kind of has a neat texture. But any piece of cardboard will do, or and then these are pottery ribs. I took a class, Catherine and MJ took it from John Redmond, and he's, if you ever don't know his work, he's got beautiful work, but he's the one that said these pottery ribs are good to use, and they come in different flexibilities. This one is super flexible. Some of them are really stiff, and obviously you can use them for different things. The stiff ones you can't bend. These you can bend, and when you're pushing your paint or pulling your paint, they just have different techniques. This is just a piece of bamboo that I sharpened, that I use to like scrape into. If I wanted a really fine line that I could scrape back into. So honestly, you can use anything. Plaster, spatula. So it's just to show you, you can use whatever works. You can use, and of course, fingers. I don't wear gloves. I know I should, but fingers work great too. So anyway, but you do have to get some paint on here. So let me start by. This might not be the most exciting subject, but I wanted to get something I felt like I could kind of get a good amount of paint on here. And what I have done, I'll say this, this is oil paint, so you have to get it to a kind of tackiness to be able to, otherwise you'll take it all off, to be able to manipulate the paint. So I have mixed, and there's a lot of things that are, drying agents. This is solvent-free gel, which I have right here. What I've mixed in with this is this is the Winsor Newton product. It's kind of the same, but it's a liquid that's in the gel form. And so, and it smells like liquid. Liquid has a smell that solvent-free gel doesn't. But the liquid dries a little faster, that's why I've used it. So I mixed it.
It dries, but not too fast.
Yeah, it doesn't like dry, but it'll, like at the end of the demo, it'll be tacky, so it'll dry enough so it's if I'm careful with my manipulation, I can actually paint on top of something, So, I've mixed it in with the white and these piles. I've mixed it in with these piles, kind of like a 1-to-1 ratio,
The liquid?
the
Or the solvent?
liquid gel. And then I've got that solvent-free gel, and it's a little gooier than the solvent-free gel. This is almost Vaseline kind of like consistency. And if I need to get some flow on my brush, I'll dip into this solvent-free gel. But you could also use if you really like liquid, you could use the liquid's more liquid, or you can use like an alkyd product, like any of the mediums, to help make it more dry faster. That's what we're trying to do. But I put it in with the white, because if I'm gonna, based on this, there'll be a lot of white, so anytime I pull into it, if I'm pulling into these piles of paint that don't have it mixed in, I'll be getting some of it in there. I have a lot of colors on here, because some of them I just didn't want to take off because they were wet, and I didn't want to throw them away, but, no, I know I should paint with less colors, but, I tend to paint with a lot of colors on my palette. I think some of it's a crutch, it's like I like to have them there. Some of it's for ease. I mean, there's some colors on here I could mix, but it's faster to just come in and, put them up there. So anyway, so if you have questions about mixing, I'll try to answer, or anything, just please ask me questions, because this is gonna be hard to just sit up here the whole time and paint. So I'm gonna try to just get, I can already see that needs a
You're
little
starting
more.
with kind of a medium value?
Yeah.
Do you usually do that?
I don't know. I mean, I probably would never start with a drawing this detailed. This is pretty detailed for me.
I wondered about that.
So I'd probably I'd loosely sketch in areas like I know that. And sometimes I will put some thumbnails to get my composition. You still have to have your composition, your color mixing. You still have to have all your, the factors of being able to draw and make a painting. This is kind of like an additive thing. So this is like the next level. It's not gonna help your composition. If your composition's bad, it's gonna still be bad, so. But anyway, so I would probably, honestly, if I didn't have this drawing, I would put my darks in, I can do it. I'll do it with a different brush. I put just a tiny bit of solvent-free gel just to get my bristles loosened up here. So let's do it. Let's put the darks in. I probably look at my subject, which is the photograph here, and I just start with putting large areas and not pay too much attention to, well, definitely detail, but not, they're in kind of the right place, but they're not all gonna be this color. But if I squint, y'all know the squint test. Squint and see where your darkest darks are, and just kind of lay them in. Again, and there's so many things, and I know you talked about the Notanizer. There's another one called Grid Painter. I think it's Grid Painter. I think it's $2.99. It does the Notans, but it also, you can go in there and put grids on it. So if you're one of those people that likes to grid off something, if you have something really complicated, you can divide it into fourths or thirds. Thirds would be more like the, golden ratio. Or you can, if it's really complicated and you I need it to be every inch on the 16 by 20, you can do that. You can save them to your camera roll with grayscale. You can also do the Notans. You can do 3 levels of gray, or 4, or 5, or unlimited. It's really a nice little app. So anyway, that's another one. But I lost my train of thought there. But anyway, this is probably how I'd start. I'd just squint and think, okay, where are my darkest darks, and have I got them in? This is really dark down here, but I don't think I'm gonna just probably let that maybe just go off the edge. So, let me see, there's another one there. I'm tempted to use a different brush, excuse me, for my onion, but let's see. For just the sake of, then I can not get it messed up, so. Get some more paint on it. I use transparent oxide red a lot, I love it. It's that's what the sketch is done in, transparent oxide red too, so. It's just a handy tool, so a handy color, so. All right, so that would probably be my block in, to just start, and then I'd start going to, you know, more colors. And again, working big shapes to small shapes. A lot of this stuff is, you know, if you paint things that you are, it's not gonna be new to you. Not, also, I'll try to step out of the way with y'all a little bit. And the cabbage is a little bit of a bluey green, you know, so I'm adding, I have a violet gray, Old Holland, which is a nice kind of muted kind of blue gray. I can already see that is way too dark for, so if I'm doing these for my middle values, can you see? I need to change that.
Who makes the violet gray?
Old Holland.
Old Holland?
Yes, and Charvin makes one that's really close, and I think it's a little, you know, Old Holland's kind of expensive. Let's see if I brought the Charvin. I think it's called, yeah. It's called Provence Blue. It's really similar, they're close, these are the difference in the two. I brought the paints that I have on here, just if anybody wanted, so, to look at them.
Can we pass them around if we promise to give them back?
The paints?
Yeah.
You want all of them, or you want all of them?
Nobody wants to, that's
Just those two colors, or you want all of them? Do you want
Oh,
all of them?
no, I was talking about those two colors, but don't worry about it.
I think Holbein makes one, and there's a Korean brand called Shin Han.
Oh, I've never used that.
It's garbage paint on
Okay.
it. But they do have that color, you'd have to put it on a paper towel first,
Oh, okay.
but it's cheap.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you know, since this really wasn't about color mixing, y'all, I mean, that's why I said, if you have a question, just ask me, but I just wanted to get something on here, and that was just another time factor thing that was, you know, if I went with that, if I started from scratch with no color mixing, I think I'd be, y'all wouldn't get me to see me do any kind of edge work, so.
None of the fun stuff.
Yeah, that's right, so, anyway, there is a green on here that I really like, it's made by Winsor & Newton, it's called Windsor Green, and it's kind of like a phthalo green, so, but you don't have to be quite as careful. I just added some in here, you can see kind of the strength of it.
Yeah, it's very blue.
But, when I'm plein air painting, I use it a lot to do that, and I'll add transparent oxide red and just block in my darks, and it's a really good, I think it's a really good natural green color for plants, I guess I'll say, so I'm just gonna use them on here. All right.
I know, right?
So nobody has any questions so far?
This one's already sprayed and finished, so. That's gorgeous.
Do you have a favorite brush type?
I like rosemary brushes a lot, of course, this one is rosemary, this one isn't. I have with that award, some of it was in kind, and I had like Princeton brushes, I could get like $200 worth of Princeton brushes, I have a lot of those that I like. The quality of rosemary brushes is, I think, really good, and
Do you have a C?
But-
What kind of connector do you have?
I don't know, the bigger the better,
And
you
then on
know,
the side.
yes.
Is that a Princeton you're using there?
Yep,
This
throw it on the
is,
table.
Princeton, angular bright.
Go around through there,
So-
through here. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm just trying to get these a little bit warmer, adding some cad yellow dark, cad yellow medium, just to get just a little more yellow in them. And I use cad yellow lemon a lot, or cad lemon, or some, I don't know. It's got a greenish cast to it, but it's a good for mixing with, good with mixing with ultramarine.
It's okay. It's okay. It was to keep it from being bumped, but. Oh, well. You love technology and you hate technology, right? You get what you pay for. In terms of me. That could be the, it's on low battery, but Christy, look and see this. Does this look like it's taking in a charge? Oh, it is taking in a charge, okay. Never mind, I see it.
Here, I'm gonna stay over here.
And you're using canvas board.
This is at Centurion, which you have to get at Jerry's Artorama, because I don't think they sell to brick and mortar stores, so, but, I think it's for the price, that's great quality. And this is an oil primed, they do a acrylic primed, if you prefer to paint on acrylic primed. And I can't tell you how much it is, but if you go to Jerry's Artorama, and they're having a sale till the end of this week, which I don't know what it is, where, you know, they have the retail price, then they have the sale price, then they have Jerry's price, and then on their super sales, they have a mega price. And their mega price this week, all their canvases and canvas boards, just saying, if you're interested to go over here. Okay, so this is getting kinda close to, you know, what, for my foreground, let's say. Let me get some, I didn't bring enough big brushes, but let me get some color on that onion, and then I'm gonna quickly put in a color for the background. Again, so we can start, you know, moving stuff around.
Notice how often she moves that brush. I mean, in every direction. And I don't know about y'all, but to me, that is just incredible.
And I painted with a bunch of y'all, so y'all kind of know, this is really big for me. I'm not used to painting this big normally, but it's a little bit of a push. And I want to paint quite this fast. I can try to paint fast, but it's not usually quite this fast, so. Yeah, some of those are done on a birch panel. That one, you know, Sam doesn't like them because he thinks they're warped, which they do tend to warp sometimes, but, you know, sometimes.
Depends on how big they are.
Yeah. You know, it's always you're always trying to maybe cut corners, I guess, the best thing to say, but, you know, sometimes it's hard to get something to work and cut the corners, but I am gonna put that one in the show at Libby's, so y'all please come to the opening. It's just for moral support.
Just so you're not the only one standing there.
Yes, I'm not the only
Tell us
one.
again when it is there.
It's Thursday, the 23rd, Canary Gallery, and it's, that, which is downtown. This is, if you haven't been, it's a beautiful gallery.
It is pretty gallery.
Yeah. And the opening is from 6 to 8. The show will be up for, about a month, but the opening is from 6 to 8, so. February, yeah, it's like 2 weeks from today, I think. I don't think I sent it to the newsletter, and I'm sorry, I should have probably done that.
Where'd she go?
It was not meant to be recorded.
No. This is not being recorded. This is just giving us on the back row a chance to see better.
Oh,
No, this is not being recorded, but the meeting and what
yeah,
Christie's
Christie's recording.
recording is. Thanks, Lisa. You're welcome. I'm sorry it may make y'all dizzy. Let me try a different place. This will work. Can I go? Trying to get that like that. I'm good. Okay. I was trapped in here now. I can't get out.
Yeah, it's the same thing, you're right.
Are y'all busy?
God, paint is big, it's that your paint does not go very far.
Amy, you paint a lot on wood.
I don't normally,
It's good. I mean, it's,
it is, then you do have the problem with it if it warps and it's big, so. Judy's husband he's like our handyman, he's made so many pieces for us all. And so those are some that he made. They take a lot of prep work, sometimes I'm just lazy. These are prepped already, so those you have to gesso, probably like 2 or 3 times with oils, cause the oil will just sink into it, so.
you just sew the wood first and.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just sew it like 2 or 3 times. The sand, if you want it
GAC
smooth, you gotta
100
sand
on
it.
it.
Yeah, you could put the gap on it, but there's a prep time, and so a lot of times I'm just
Yeah.
like plein air. This is almost all I use with plein air because it's just so, they're such good panels for the convenience. So, but
What was that brand name again?
Centurion. Yeah, it looks like this on the back. Centurion. This is the oil prime. So it's this is how it's.
Like the linen was good.
Yeah, this is a linen, and there's, like I said, there's acrylic, primed, and, they're just on a cardboard, they're not on,
Oh, interesting.
No, you're wrong.
I'm wrong, they're not
I
on.
put one on my table saw and cut it open, just to be sure. That's the kind of person I am. It has MDF in the middle, so
Oh,
it
really?
won't warp.
Huh, well, then, there you
So
go.
they're really one of the best that you can get,
Yeah.
cause they're
I
not.
wouldn't recommend this.
Cutting it on
Cutting
itself.
it open.
She wouldn't recommend cutting it open.
So Amy,
It was a little one.
Amy, this board,
That's birch plywood,
okay, and this is primed with
gesso.
just gesso.
Probably 3 coats.
Acrylic gesso.
Yeah, probably 3 coats and,
Step back just a minute, Amy. Let me straighten you
Step
out.
back from that page a second. We don't want you
There
to
we
hit the
go.
floor.
Yeah, no, I'm losing artist.
yeah. Okay, now I need to get a little bit of background at the top and then we're gonna start manipulation a little bit. So. Wow. Yeah. See? Okay. So really my brightest bright is probably the background. Try to keep it like this. I didn't clean the brush, but let's just see. Well, I might just have to darken this one, but anyway, we'll get some paint up here. Yeah? Yeah, sorry, I said looking at my picture, the brightest bright, the the background, obviously, if I squint. And then, and maybe a little bit right here, and then this is a lot of middle values in here. I mean, you know, in the cabbage and even the onion. Now this area of the onion is probably value-wise the same as the background, so I'll try to keep that in mind when we get a little further along in here. And you'll notice at this point I'm kind of staying a little bit of distance from my edges, just because I'll get my brush will get in this green and then I'll never get the green out of it. So I mean, so I'm trying to just get the paint kind of up to the edges, and then when I'm ready to really start playing with the edges more, that won't be so much a factor. But right now,
Somebody wants to know what color you're using right now.
this is white. It's radiant blue, which you could mix, but that's one of my go-to colors. It's easy, but I use it a lot. So it's but then I had already mixed this kind of taupey color, so there's a little bit of that in my brush, so it's not really white and blue. That's why it's got this taupey stuff, so.
Color harmony.
Yes. Yes, and that is one thing, you know, if you have color, I mean, if you're painting, pull from other colors, you know, some people call them mother colors, and, you know, and that way your colors do have harmony, which is, you know, I didn't used to do that, and I look at some of my older paintings and it's like color everywhere and it's all different and like go together, and I think that was, I hadn't learned that. I mean, nobody had said do that, so I didn't, and but it does help. I mean, it's almost like subconsciously it's helping you to, you know, to have color, to have that harmony, because everything's got a little bit of this color and this color. So anyway, okay, so that's like a pretty good block in, and so now I'm gonna start. Let's see where we'll start with this. And again, so you have to pick and choose what you want to, which edges you want to lose. I can't just willy-nilly go in here and start like just, you know, doing whatever. Because, I mean, I do want there to be some thought. A good area, this value is really the same. This would be a good area to, you know, push that edge a lot more. So, and I could do something. Let's just try something. I'm sorry, I got so many brushes here, but get through a lot of paper towels. Just so you can kind of see what happens if you roll. So let's say I've got a little bit of that yellow, and I'm gonna just kind of roll it up to here. That takes a lot of paint off. And you can see, since I went back over it, it brought a lot of this gray paint into the yellow, but. I mean, this and the squeegee are probably the biggest, like, modifiers of your edges, I guess is what I'd say. Squeegee can use, sometimes if you have lines, squeegee's nice to use. And you know, it depends on how hard you push and pull. Obviously, if I push, wipe it off, I'm pulling. You can get hard lines like with a squeegee too. So sometimes if you're doing like architectural stuff, you could use it to your advantage. Now if you're using it, I'm gonna,
Amy from back here, I couldn't see, are you applying paint for there? or
no,
just
I'm pulling it
leaving
off right now, I'm taking it off.
We're kind of pushing and pulling.
Yeah, kind of pushing and pulling. I don't want these ridges right here, so I'm gonna come back in, but I'm trying to take, if I did it obviously where it's different values and very different colors, it's gonna be a lot more obvious. And I might not use this just because it's gonna be such a modifier, but I think I need to get thicker paint, so let me do that, and then I'm gonna start working like this edge. This is where I want my center of attention, so that's the area I'm gonna develop more, but, I need to get a little thicker paint on here, and of course you can do it with a palette knife. Get some paint on here that we can do this with. You probably can't see in the back, but that's, I've got some really thick paint right here, so. That's that awesome. This is it. Well, let's try to real, that'll be a little softer. So. You can start manipulating, and you can kind of draw with this too, this rib, it's really, I mean, it's really kind of amazing. But now you don't want everything to look the same, so you can't, that's why I say you have to be a little bit thoughtful on it. This area back here, since I said I was gonna do this and then I stopped doing it, let's just see. Seriously, so quiet.
We're mesmerized.
That's right.
Well, I mean, you can ask questions. Oh, brother.
I've never gotten a picture of an artist holding so many things at one time.
A roll of paper towel under the arm is just.
I know, it's fabulous.
That's security. I always had that on there. I don't know why. It's like I think that's a security blanket. So.
Hey, Amy, I'm wondering if any of these paintings you pass around might be for sale, and if they are, can we talk to you later?
They're gonna be at Canary, some
Oh,
of them.
these are all gonna be at the show.
Not all of them, there's, but a couple of them are, or maybe 3 of them. And that one will be, that one's not, I'm not gonna sell him, I'm just gonna hang on to him.
What show is it?
It's the show at Canary Gallery, and the opening is the 23rd. That's the one I was talking about. So it's down, if you haven't been Canary Gallery, I think it's on 2nd and 22nd. Is that right? 22nd.
Have you shared that on Facebook yet? I haven't seen it come up.
No, it was in that, Libby did a nice ad in the Birmingham, whatever that magazine that comes, you know, but.
Birmingham, right?
It's not really Birmingham, it's like, but, no, I need to.
You can share it.
I was waiting, cause she's got a bunch down there, but I was waiting to kinda see what I was taking, what else I was taking. I didn't wanna share something, and then she's like, I don't really like that one, I'm not gonna put it in, so I was,
So this is a gallery that represents you normally anyway, and this is like a,
and this is a show, yeah, for me, so, yeah, which is really nice.
Down in Forstall, isn't it?
Yeah, if you know where El Barrio is, they're literally like
Yeah.
2 stores down there on the corner.
you go
So-
there and
Yeah, you can
go
go,
to dinner.
and she has wine, she has her liquor license, so you can have wine. Yeah, there you go. So, yeah, so please come, it is very nice. So I'm actually using this rib to just mix a little bit of the paint that I've got on here to just kind of apply it, cause I know I haven't got the value dark enough on here.
What did you say that was, Amy, that little
A
thing?
rib, it's a pottery rib. Yeah.
Where did you find those?
You can get them at the art stores, you can order them. I'm gonna use this one, I'll pass this one around. It's,
I never look at pottery stuff.
yeah, I know, but they come in different hardness and different sizes. These two are really flexible, which I like
There's
them.
like an inner soul.
Is it silicone? Is it silicone?
It's probably cheaper than the pottery. So, yeah.
Fascinating.
We all could handle blanking it right above what we would find out.
Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like. An art support.
Yeah, watch it.
That's what it feels like. It's silicone.
You can use anything though, really. I mean, it's just about mark making, so anything you can use to make a mark is, there's no rule.
what's the most unique thing you've ever used?
I don't know.
Cool tools.
I have some Play-Doh tools that were the kids that
You
had,
get to learn all kinds of
you know,
things.
like,
That's great.
you know, where you scratch into your Play-Doh and then you like bump and stuff. So, but sometimes those are so, sometimes they're such a weird shape, it's an obvious shape, and it's,
Oh, yeah.
but, I don't know. I don't really know, but like I said, I'm trying not to use my hands, but I use my hands a whole lot. Alright, so. This is what's hard, I have to get the paint on here before I can even really start to.
looks like a night painting at this point.
Yeah.
How much do you do compared to brushes then?
I mean, I go back and forth. When you get to this point though, it's like, and I'm trying to get, you know, enough paint on here. Sometimes it's just easier with it's easier to add it with a tool that I can get more paint on. I mean, I could load my brush up too, but,
That's a good tip, though. As I was telling you, I have trouble when you're doing a larger painting, getting enough paint on there to
yeah.
be loose.
How would you do it differently if you were using acrylic paint? I don't use oil paint, but I like seeing all these techniques.
Well, I haven't had that much practice with acrylics, so I'm really not a person to give advice. I'd probably have to use some of the extenders, cause in this
Just
technique,
half
you're
of that
wanting
would
it
be
to
dry.
dry up a little bit, so in that sense, you've got the advantage of acrylics, but it still needs to be workable. I mean, you can get back on, you know, you can paint, I mean, this could be dry and I could work on it tomorrow. But,
For acrylic, you'd almost have to do one section at a time, which isn't ideal as much as working all of it.
yeah, well, I think that's
Golden has a, if you go and stand in front of the golden, just.
I gotta type it.
To make your paint thick.
Wait for that thing to come.
I know, I'm waiting for it to fall. I'll hold that. It's not heavy on my face.
Is your paint creamy, like you mix it to a creamy consistence like some thing, or is it?
yes, but cause I mixed it with the you know, the extenders, because, I mean, I use paint, I have paint from everything. I wish I could afford to use the best paint, and it's always creamy, and it's always new tubes, but, you know, I've got tubes that are really old, and so sometimes they are too thick, and it's, you know, you have to get them to a consistency where you can work with them, so. But that helps, so adding like the oleo pasta or the solvent-free gel, both of those will help to make it thinner, so it's workable. You know, if it's a brand new tube, it's probably workable, but
Yeah.
again, it's not gonna dry up fast enough. I'm wanting this to dry a little bit, I'm wanting it to get a little tacky, so, you know, cause otherwise I can't start to manipulate things.
What determines when you use the putty knife or the spatula? I see you drag with it, but when you have that paint on there.
You know, it's I guess it's just, I'm kind of intuitive, I'm trying to see what will help me get that mark, and it's not necessarily one thing or the other, it's just, you know, just trying to see. And some of it is, like I said, this is faster, not that I'd work slow, but this is faster than I'd normally probably work, so I might be able to do a little more with the paintbrush. But I'm not gonna have enough paint on here to, you know.
Yeah.
So, and even though you're working with a tool, you know, you have to kind of get the feel of like, okay, is that tool, can I push down hard or can I not? Cause it makes a big difference on the mark you're making. Same with a paintbrush, but you know, you just kind of have to use trial and error a little bit. So I'm trying to get some green on here cause that cabbage is reflecting that green and I really like it. Okay, so let's see if I can just move some stuff around here. I don't want that much green, but I don't know if y'all can see this from there, but I'm kind of trying to make an edge. And one thing on this that'll be, the tool will be nice for is doing those veins in the cabbage, cause, you can pull them.
Now, what is that called again? Like if you wanted to buy that, you would search it.
It's a pottery rib, R-I-B. They're used like if you're on a wheel and the wheels turn in to kind of like hold it up against something, and it, you know, that's what they're used for. I think, I'm not a potter, but I'm picking up. I think that is what they're used for, so.
Kay Lewis had us using those automotive,
Yeah, that's
Bondo?
what,
Yeah, the
it's like
Bondo,
Steve.
is that what you
Yeah,
mean?
that's what that is. You pass it around. It's hard, so you can see the difference, I'm sorry. So it's hard, so you're gonna get a different mark, and, you're gonna take a lot more paint off, but.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's great for backgrounds. So if your background is dry, and I wanted to modify it slightly in areas, either darker, change the color, I can mix another color and pull that across. I mean, you do it with a palette knife, but you know, you have to have a really big palette knife. An area, and you get a nice, backgrounds are interesting. From a distance, it probably looks like it's maybe a different color, but if you look at
Is it like a broken color?
yeah, so if you look at it, you know, up close, the texture in the background, which is, again, like I said, to me, that's what's so interesting and so beautiful about the paintings, that when people start to, you know, when those things start to happen.
And you said this is larger than you usually do. Would you use these tools, these big, for smaller?
I did a 4 foot by, I think maybe it was 5 foot by 4 foot landscape for somebody in Savannah, and it was almost abstract. So I used a lot of these kind of tools, because I had to use so much paint, and so to try
How
to.
do you go smaller than that?
Well, I mean, those are all, you know, I mean, you can get really tiny from just using, and certainly with palette knives you can. This, you know, I mean, this one being flexible, I mean, I can, you know, point it up almost and pull something away from it that's just very, you know, small. And like I said, certainly with palette knives, you could do the same thing.
No, that's a 16 by 20?
That is, yes, 60. I just wouldn't normally do a cabbage like this.
I'll take a minute, do door prizes. If everyone has signed the list now, have you signed over there? If you haven't, go over there and sign the list.
Are we running out of time?
No, we're good.
Okay.
I didn't do it before everybody leaves.
Okay.
Amy,
Yes.
I've had a question from the peanut gallery back
Okay.
here. And by the way, I've been just as guilty as everybody else, but let's remember Martha's suggestion about keeping it quiet, get the chatter down. I've been guilty. But anyway, her question was, do you usually varnish these paintings? And for example, is the little boy that you painted beautifully varnished?
Yes.
What do you use?
Yeah, I do try to varnish them when they're, you know, the Gambar, you can varnish when it's dry to the touch.
Gambar?
Is that
Gambar.
I just got some this week, but it's so thin.
I used to, well, I mean, it is,
It's like
thin,
water.
but you don't want like a thick layer. And what I usually do, because of the way I like, I mix the gloss and the satin or semi-gloss, whatever it's called. Like half and half. I don't like it quite as shiny as a gloss, but I don't like a little bit of shine.
Yeah.
So I just pour them in there and just mix it with my brush. Put it on with a brush. And you can't apply it too fast or you get little bubbles, you know, so just apply it in a thin, you want a thin coat, because otherwise it's just.
So what is too fast to not get bubbles?
Like if I was going like this, I mean,
You
that's
apply it
too
with the
fast.
brush?
Just try to be like, you know,
You use a wide brush?
yeah, I'd probably use something like 2 or 3 inches and just, will depend on the size of your painting, and just kind of do nice even coats, maybe,
Too fast.
and you just hold up to the light to make sure you're covering it. You can tell if you've got
Yeah.
you know, you missed a spot, and just, you know, I try to end by pulling in the same direction, but I'll usually go both directions just to make sure I cover it.
So what was the varnish again, and what did you mix it with?
Gamvar, it's made by Gamblin, everything says Gam in the front of it, so Gamvar. And I mixed the gloss and the satin, I think is what it is. So it's not quite as glossy, but it's got a little gloss. And then you have to clean it up, obviously, your brush with mineral spirits, so.
How long does it take the varnish to dry?
Depending on the humidity, it can dry in like 3 or 4 hours, but the next day it's usually dry. So, but if you go on Gamblin's website, I'm not trying to push anything, but they've got a wealth of information, and they'll tell you, what, how to use things, their toxicity. They're real big on trying to stay, as non-toxic as they possibly can, but, they've got videos and stuff to show you how to do it, so it's, if you forget. Okay, I'm gonna try to pull out some of these veins just to.
Pam at Alabama has some Gamvar coming. I got the last job.
Yeah, it comes in different sizes, but it goes a long way. I just put it on a paper plate or a plastic plate and, it really doesn't take much, but I'll usually wait till I have like 3 or 4 paintings because I hate the cleanup.
How long is it going to take to varnish?
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and do the door prizes for just a minute. Oh, okay. Y'all just come over here and you can get your pick out prize. We call that your day.
Y'all, again, we owe Alabama Art Supply thanks and Lick Art Supplies.
We're doing a random thing on somebody's phone, I think she's doing it, and so that's how we're getting the numbers, and how we're picking the door prizes. We're picking off this list over here, so y'all just stand by and if you hear your name come out.
Delaney Lane.
Yay.
So you can see how that starts to, but obviously I need to, sorry. Think about, okay, so these ribs, these raised areas, these are gonna be lighter in the highlight. I need to make them with some paint. Then these are in the shadow areas, even though here they kinda look all the same, but you have to still keep in mind your light source and your value shifts and that kind of stuff, so don't just randomly, do something and then leave it and think, oh, that's perfect like that, but this will at least get some paint off of the area, so I can start to, I can start to do something with that. Here I didn't put any paint on it, so I'm not really sure what I did there, but I think I'll just put a little bit.
Can you talk about, when to scrape off, when to, because, sometimes I'll see just paint that looks beautiful, and then they'll take those things, scrape and just scrape it off. And talk about that a little bit, I get a little confused about that.
Yeah, well, like I said, you kind of have to be a little bit afraid when you're trying this, just because, it's hard to work on something and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna mess it up, so, but, I could scrape, let's see if I got, I could scrape, if I think I don't like this is way too specific, I don't know, this might not scrape very well, but, that's not scraping very well, but let's try the roller again. I might think, I don't want this to be this definite, so I'm gonna you just have to kinda like.
It's just knocking it down.
Yeah, it's like, I really don't want your eye to go here, this is not my subject, not that's not my subject, so I don't really want it to go there. And then, you've got this, I might think, I'd like to introduce a little bit of this color even, I've got it on the roller a little bit, I don't know if it'll come off. Yeah, there it does a little bit. So, you can use it also to do that kind of stuff. There's not a timer like I said, you kind of just have to just get your hands in there and just do it. And like, I mean, I might say, oh, I really like this, I don't wanna mess it up, but that's, you learn from your mess ups, I mean, that's the honest truth. So, if I said that, and I might think, I don't like how that looks. And you just come in here and just really, scrape it off. One, you're getting a surface that you can paint back on again, because, I'm just getting it's gonna be dry enough right there while I'm painting. So, you kinda have to just, it's really not any answer, but it's kind of
just, some people use it for an effect, I think, but.
Yeah.
But then others will, see just lots of paint and it'll, like Craig Reynolds does a lot of scraping. He'll scrape it and then he'll do something and he'll scrape that off and he'll do this.
Well, and you have
build
to,
it up, I think.
It is just paint. I mean, you can always put more paint down there. I mean, I try to tell people that all the time, cause it's like, you're like, oh, I really like that though. And it's like, it might be better. You don't know. Cause you can give it a shot if you're not gonna try it. So that's why I was saying, you kinda just have to start. And it's not always successful. I mean, some of the stuff doesn't look very good, and so you keep working it. And a lot of these things, like that demo of that little boy, I mean, I was fine with it. It was a okay demo, and it was, but it didn't do anything for me. It was kinda like, I don't know, I'm gonna give it a shot, just see what happens, because I would see these paintings that I just was in love with, that were just absolutely gorgeous. And so, and I mean, I can give y'all names of people if there are people you wanna watch, but I mean, I'm sure y'all can find them. There's a lot of people that kind of do this deconstructing once you get it up, to a point, and then you take it to another point.
Well, tell us who you like.
Okay, well, and it depends what you want, if you want people or landscapes or whatever, but John Redmond, his work's beautiful, and he does mostly landscapes and still lifes. He's got some gorgeous paintings of silverware or things on those transparent green plates, and Scott Connery's another person that he's done these beautiful paintings of broken eggs, and their yolks are coming out. They're just luscious. And
what was that name?
His name is Scott Connery. And Claudia Rilling, she does landscapes, and Tracy Everly, they're both landscape painters, and they both use a lot of manipulating tools. And
could you give those two names again?
Thank you. Claudia Rilling, Rilling, and Tracy Everly, Everly. I don't know if there's an E in there or not, but but see, there's stuff that happens that I could never do this with the paintbrush, and I could never do this again. It just happens. So you've got to be willing to give it a shot. I mean, I guess I don't even really know how to say that any better. It's just, and it's gonna take some practice. You're not gonna get it every time. I mean, and I could teach a workshop on it, but I'm not even, I mean, we'd have to do it several days, because I think it would just, to get the hang of it would take a while. But, and plus where y'all are sitting, it might look way different than when you're up here. It might look totally different, so.
I think it's interesting that you don't have to step away.
Well,
But your eye is so trained that you're right there and you're focused.
Yes, I am that good that I don't. I can step away.
I'm gonna be back here going,
I should be stepping away.
Yeah. Don't step away.
Yeah, I know, I'll trip. No, you should step away. I'm not
I think
stepping
you're,
away. I know.
the fact that you don't have to.
Well, it's looking like a cactus, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good thing. I'm gonna try to get a little highlight on here and then roll it, and we'll just see what happens, so it might look a little more interesting where this light is catching. There's actually a lot of blue, but since this towel is in the yellow family, I guess, orange yellow, this cabbage it's reflecting some light, so it's looking kind of blue down here, I think, so try to get a little bit of that color in there. And the same thing over here, that onion is picking up a lot of that cabbage light, so. But the other side, let's see. Go this way with it. This way I'm kind of keeping it the same, so.
Nice.
See, that helped. This isn't sitting down very well, is it? Do remember to roll it off, and the same thing with your, if you're using a rib or anything. Plus, I need to get that rib back, so you don't need.
Where's the rib?
No.
It's right there to your right.
I just wanna make sure I get it back, but, wipe them off or you're gonna just be transferring, it's just like your brushes, you're gonna be transferring so much paint that, you know. Let's see.
Amy, do you paint every day?
I try to. I know Sam would tell you, that's all I do is paint, but it's really not true, but I do try.
No, it shows, you know.
Yeah.
I love to paint. I mean, I have to say, I love to paint. I just, if I could have come out of undergraduate school and been a painter, but I knew I needed to make a living, so. And I'm not knocking medical illustration, it's been great, so I loved it, and, but, I mean, and I love all kinds of art too, so, you know. I've tried most everything, I think. I started a carousel horse, it's in storage, it's not finished. Sam bought me a printmaking press, I loved printmaking in college, and I have never put it out, I just, you know.
It's in storage with the
It's in
carousel.
storage. I mean, so. Yeah.
We never do that.
The carousel, of course, will be for the print.
Yeah, for the green job. It's just the head of a lion, I don't think she did. It's a lion head, but, yeah, Sam said if I die, he can have the museum of unfinished projects. So, but, you know, it's hard when you, I mean, y'all know, if you really are, if you like art, it's hard to not do it, I'm sorry, it just is. To me, it is. It's hard to not paint every day. I just really do like to paint. I mean, and it is like anything else. The more you paint, the better you get. It's like, you know, somebody couldn't give me a saxophone and say, okay, do this once a week, and then I expect you to do a concert in 3 months. You can't do it, you know? And people tend to think you're just talented, and you're just, you know, you can just do it, you're lucky with that talent. But I mean, it's not, there's a lot of work in it. So you do have to practice something. And like I said, if you don't make mistakes, you're really not learning. If everything I did came out perfect, I wouldn't learn anything new, and I want to learn new things. So, anyway, I don't know.
Do you ever work from photographs, or do you mainly work from, like, you know, plein air or?
I do both. This I set up in the studio and took the photographs, and you know, I mean, I work from photographs a lot, and but I do try to paint from a model. You know, I have friends that we can get a model. We're fortunate in that, and when we can, but I'll still take a bunch of photographs because then I've got all different angles and poses and stuff. But it's not. If you're painting from photographs, like I said, you have to mentally try to remember what it was you saw, if it's your photograph, if it's your photograph. And apply those things. That's why I'm saying, I know there's more color in that background. I know there's more color in this, and in the shadows, there's a ton more color. But a photograph is just gonna average it. So if you know you're gonna paint something, I would suggest, on your camera, you know how to touch the square on the dark ones, on the dark things, and then you'll kind of blow out the light, touch it on the light ones, and you'll kind of your dark things will go into shadow. So you have both those references. You could actually kind of look at them then, but paint from life too, just because once you learn to see those kind of things, it'll help your painting. So, yeah, I paint some photos too.
I thought I might try to demonstrate that, what she just said. Y'all know what that blowing out, the dark and the light's all about? Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, I think it's a good thing to know about, if I've got it right, and if somebody knows better, please speak. So on this, let's see, let me find something. So this is set on the photo mode. So, let me see. It's like if you touch on the dark spots, it's still gonna kind of even it out. Let's see if we touch on the lightest spots. Right, let me see, look at the window.
Yeah, look at the window. When you have a really strong difference, it should.
Maybe I have it set not in such a way that works very well. Let me see, what is this? Flash is disabled, that's okay. I'd like to disable the flash. Y'all know never to work from reference photos that had a flash. Yes. That's the worst way to do a portrait. Oh. Anyway, let me see, what else? All right, maybe this is something we just all need to play with. I thought I knew, but it's just not working in this setting. Outdoors it works pretty well. To touch on the dark spot.
What it's doing, where you're touching is where it thinks you want the main.
Did you see how it just blasted out? That just went real light when I moved over from here. I don't know if I can replicate it.
Thanks for trying.
At least you kind of know what that's about.
Yeah, if you
go away.
If you touch it, there's a little square that pops up, and that's what it's thinking. Your camera's thinking this is what they're trying to get a picture of. So it will, if it's something like a window that's really bright against a wall, which value-wise is so different. If I touched on the window, it's gonna close the shutter down so I can see what is on that window. But if I touched on the wall, that window would just go to white because it's thinking I need to see what's there. But that way you have two. You have you can see that your dark values and your light values, you have more to work with than you might. But anyway, if you take your own photos and it's something you know you want to paint, try to just remember things like what it looked like, what it was. Is it? There's a ways to go with it, but I mean, hopefully y'all can see. That's why I said an hour is almost not enough to try to even paint this. Okay. Well, is there anything I haven't done on here that you maybe want to see? I know I haven't really done much with this, but let's get something really bright on that one. Onion.
While Amy's finishing up, if any of you guys need a photograph, a headshot done, I brought my camera today. So we like to highlight our new members especially. Get a photograph of those, or anybody else that needs an updated headshot, because we're building the pictorial directory. So I'll be over here at the end of the meeting.
I'm not sure where to go with this now.
It looks great.
It does.
Really
It's got a ways to go, but at least y'all can see.
I'd be thrilled with
Yeah, I'll finish it. I might not finish it till next week.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Y'all remember to help me put some chairs back if you don't.
Thank you guys, we'll see you next time.
It's because it's well, maybe that'll work. Amazing.
I wish I could paint like her.
I know. When I grow up.
I know.
But you should have been great on your hands, right? Cut this thing right now.